Right, hi guys, welcome back to Simply Forex. I am here with somebody else. You can probably see that. You have eyeballs. So yeah, we're going to talk today about psychology. This is Kev. He's a regular on the Discord channel. And we're going to talk about psychology because recently we did a poll, and on that poll we were like, what are the biggest factors that impact your trading? And one of them was psychology. So we decided to do focus on psychology a little bit more. So this is why we are here. So like I say, this is Kev, a regular to the Discord channel. Some of you may not know that he is a performance coach. So yeah, he's a performance coach certified by the world-renowned Coactive Coaching Institute in New York City. Check him out. He's also certified with the International Coaching Federation, and he's got some quite fancy clients. He's got musicians, artists, business owners, executives, who need to operate at peak performance. And Kev helps with this. All right. So, who better to ask about psychology and our performance as traders? Yeah, because most of it is mental, let's be honest. Yeah. So there you go, Kev. There's your intro. How are you, mate?
Well, what an introduction. I'm great. And, thanks for having me on again. The last two videos, I think, was scalping and stuff like this. So it's definitely good to share, the whole mental side, which I think, and I'm sure you do, it's probably the most important side of trading.
Yeah. Yeah, so important, mate. Honestly, yeah, that I would, 80-90% of it is, psychology and dealing with your mental state. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that obviously that needs training like anything else. If you was a footballer, you would work on, shooting, passing. And, if you're, dealing with the mental state and psychology, you need to practice that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's get stuck in. It's not going to be an interview, Kev. Don't worry. Yeah. So
no, it's all good.
We'll have a general chit chat about, psychology, mate. So I guess we should start with, starting your trading day and how you would set up, any techniques or tips you could use to just get you in that mindset.
Yeah. So just quickly going back. So I remember in 2016, I was running a company in the Caribbean, really, really nice place to live, obviously. And it was a big company. But every morning I used to wake up with this sort of cloud and self-doubt, imposter syndrome. I was 31 at the time and running the company. Everyone else was older than me, and so I used to wake up and just feel really low, even though I had a great job and that kind of thing. So I started to look into it. Anyway, long story short, I hired a performance coach, all right? And it completely changed the way I started my mornings and my day and the performance, I guess, of me at work and at home, I guess. Anyway, so fast forward to 2 years after that, I had decided this is something I wanted to do, invest in myself. Went to New York, did the training, got certified. It's a long-winded process. And then
so it had a really big impact on you then, Kev, obviously. It had that much of an impact. You wanted to go learn it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest, like I didn't tell anyone, but at the time I'd wake up and before I put my feet on the floor, I was already in a down mood and I'd pretend everything was okay. I had a great salary and I was traveling, I was going all the way from China to Brazil and it was really good, really, really good. But if you looked at me, you wouldn't think anything was wrong, but there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I remember like sitting there with the kids at breakfast and thinking, I can hear them speaking, but I'm not listening to them. Right. And I knew something was wrong. Something was really, really wrong.
Yeah.
And when I started to look into it, I realized that, I needed some support somewhere.
Yeah.
And it had a massive impact. I mean, not just because of that, but because having a performance coach, the profits of the company over the next 3 years went up year on year. The employee morale went up. And that was all based on how I approach today, because as a leader, and I guess as a trader, you're the leader in you're the person taking the trades. There's no one else.
No one else to blame.
No one else to blame. Yeah,
No.
but everyone else was looking up to me, and nothing's changed now. My kids look up to me. That make sure they've got the things that they need. So it's the same thing when I had the employees. So it was really important.
Yeah, cool. All right. So you sort of been there, done it, experienced, like this fog, this not being in the right mindset, and you're there in body, but you're not there in mind, and trading, you have to be switched the hell on, you have to be laser focused, so it's something I've learned over the years as well, and it's just interesting to talk to you about it as well, because like I say, you've experienced it and you're a performance coach. So dealing with that in the morning, Kev, like you're going to trade for the day. It could be someone's full-time job. It could even be someone's part-time job. So what tips or advice would you give to getting in that zone and getting that laser focus?
Well, look, I'll just give you a brief background with so when you first wake up in the morning, the first 20 minutes, there's a state. So scientific studies show there's a state of where you are when you wake up, and I think there's 5 different stages of how the brain operates throughout the day. But the state that we're most interested in as traders or as a business owner or going to work or anything is called the alpha state. And what the alpha state is where your brain operates at a level between you've just woken up and a real calm state. So the important part of that is whatever you take in within the first 20 minutes generally has an impact on your day, right? And we know this. So, for example, you wake up and you jump onto Instagram or social media and you see something, news, something upsets you, and it sets the tone for the day. You might have a meeting or you're worried about the charts, and it sets the tone for the day, right? So what's really important is when you wake up is to really get yourself into the best state of mind. And in 2017, actually, I came up with, it's now called the M3 method. So I can jump into that a little bit if you want.
Yeah, please do.
So the M3 method, again, when I was going through this rough patch and I had hired my coach from New York, I did a lot of research, into, what makes people tick, what makes people high performers really work well and drive them forward. And anyway, so the M3 method is 3 M's. So the first M is mindset, motivation, and movement. So again, this is something, it's foundational work with the clients that I work with. When we first start together, it's where we begin. So in a nutshell, mindset could be anything from meditation, gratitude, visioning, visioning, like thinking about what your trading day might be like. Affirmations, stuff like that. Movement is anything that gets your heart rate up. So it could be 10 push-ups, it could be a full-blown workout, it can be a walk, right? It could be you running down the stairs to grab some coffee, right, and running back up. But you want to get the movement, right? Again, get the heart rate up. And then the last thing is motivation. And I think people think of motivation as a push, this is going to help me be motivated to do something. Motivation should be a pull, not a push, right? It should be something that really you're attracted to. So for example, I like listening to music, a good podcast, right, in the morning, like a motivational speaker like Les Brown or something like that. So those are the 3 M's. And the idea is, as you wake up in the morning, you don't touch your phone, right? You get up, and initially you might, so my routine is I wake up, I say some prayers. I mean, I don't believe in God or anything, but I think there's something there. I give thanks and gratitude. I then think about what my day is going to be like by the end of the day. So for example, no FOMO, I'll stick to my process, I'll have a great day, right? Those kind of things. I then do some push-ups, 10 push-ups. And then I get downstairs whilst listening to, like I said, Les Brown, or there's a couple other guys. So I've got that on and I'm listening to that. And then I get downstairs for my coffee and then I'm back upstairs again. I also have what some people might call it a vision board, but I call it a life board. So it sets out my goals for the year. And I look at that. And before I start my day trading, I've completed the M3 method. And then I have a look at, you're going to laugh at this. So I look at all my winning trades So I do a screenshot of the winning trades and not the losing trades.
No,
Because
right.
that's
So
my
it's like
method. That's
positive reinforcement. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing negative. Or why did I do that? And so that's my M3 method of how I start my day. And before I touch a screen, in a sense of looking at a chart, the last thing is looking at my winning trades.
Yeah.
I used to have them on Google Drive, but now I've put them into a presentation.
Okay. All right. Interesting, Kev. Yeah, I like this idea of the three M's. I didn't know it was, there was sort of a scientific name to it, but this is something, I do. I sort of, just get myself in the right mindset. I tend to go to the gym, I don't listen to any noise or any other things that distract me from my, the beginning of my day, and then just sort of zone into I have my affirmation that's also part of the YouTube channel. Check that out. I like to listen to that every morning. Just reinforces it's like, you are a good trader, you don't make mistakes.
I've seen that.
And it does help. It seeps in, and it just, like you say, it just slowly gets you in that right mindset. Vodka doesn't help though, Kev. Is that?
No, it doesn't.
No,
sorry,
I'm sure it doesn't. Yeah.
This bloody light here is so bright in my face. I don't have probably your professional setup, but anyway.
This is also blinding, to be fair. My eyesight's getting worse the more YouTube videos I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, but interesting, Kev. Yeah, the three M's, it could really help, some people who are listening in and, just to help them getting into that mindset.
Yeah, I wrote an article in it for Thrive. Thrive is a real good platform where you can share ideas. And so I wrote an article on that. Perhaps I'll share it on the Discord. And it just gives an overview. Like I said, it's the light version. When we get into the work of doing it, it's a repetition to make sure that you get to where you want to be eventually.
Yes, and it's the same with trading. Repetition. Just if you trade your setups, often and trade the right setup enough, that will become a good habit to have. Okay, mate. All right, interesting. And please share that on the Discord, guys. If you're not a member of the Discord, come join it. We got people like Kev sharing knowledge and ideas, as well as myself. So come join it, guys. If we carry on with this mindset, so sometimes we enter a trade and we're like, oh, is this a good trade? Is it a bad trade? Should I enter now? Should I do this? Should I do that? We ask ourselves 1,000 questions before we enter a trade. What can we do to sort of, again, focus our mind a bit, really?
Yeah, so I think it's a great question. When I first started trading, I would just jump into a trade. I mean, you're going to laugh, right? I used to just trade the RSI. The RSI is overbought, so buy or sell or whatever. But I'd wake up from a hangover and I'd be trading, or I had an argument with someone and I'd be trading, or the kids have annoyed, right? Whereas now, like I said, so you've done your M3 method. Ideally, there's like what you want to do is have like an internal checklist, right? So, for example, have you had enough sleep? All right. Do you feel good? Do you feel lethargic? Because that's going to impact how you trade. Have you eaten? If you eat in the mornings or whenever you wake up, do you feel agitated for any reason? These are the little things you want to, yourself, right? So you want to have like this internal checklist as to how you're feeling. And as long as, everything meets those standards that you've set yourself, as I call them, the personal standards, right? You then want to make sure you're prepared and you're ready to enter the trade. Now, I always say, like, forget any strategy, indicator, anything like that, because the most important thing, like you were mentioning earlier, is to make sure you're in the right frame of mind before you enter the trade. You got the best strategy in the world, and whether it's, as you say, sometimes the mechanical indicators or just watching price action, if you're not in the right frame of mind, you're going to make mistakes. We forced trades in the past, haven't we? Where we think, I want to help someone, and you kind of end up forcing a trade, but that means your mindset hasn't settled to where you know it to be. Right.
Definitely.
What's made you successful, I guess.
No, I totally agree. You sort of need an internal checklist, but then, this is not psychology, but as part of your strategy, you need to have some sort of yes or no answers to the reasons you trade, you take the trade. Yeah. But that's your own personal strategy. So that's sort of separate to psychology, but you do need a strategic checklist as well,
Yeah, exactly. And I think before I entered the trade, I mean, I used to think, oh my God, am I going to win or lose this? And I think now, most of the time, I'm not a robot, but most of the time now, I'm not really bothered about the outcome, because the the management of the losses or the wins are key. Okay, the strategy is what the strategy is. So it's almost like, I think we were talking about this the other day. It's almost like being an algorithm. It's irrelevant whether you win or lose. Your system has shown you this is the trigger. You've waited, you've planned, it shows up, you pull the trigger, and whether you win or lose is not relevant. Obviously, you want to win, yes. But the mindset and being in the right frame to really execute and just be as calm as possible, is the most important thing.
And it sounds simple. When you say it out loud, it sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing you'll ever do in trading. Is just, have this, very calm approach, right mindset, enter a turn, and, according to your strategy. But emotions, psychology come in and take over, and we are, like you say, we are all human. I try to trade like an emotionless robot. I
know you do.
I try to, I'm like, when I get in that zone, you're like, Tom, are you there? Is anyone in? I am, zoned out. I think homeostasis is a word that, you don't have these peaks and troughs. I'm just like, bird. Really good conversation during the day, as you can imagine.
I can imagine your wife was like, are you there? Are you actually listening?
Yeah, hello. Yes. Yeah. So there's a bit of that. But for trading, it's it's needed.
Well, I think, look, honestly, the M3 method is transformative when you use it and you stick to it, and it becomes habit in the mornings, right? Yeah. Habit in the mornings is wake up, you look at your phone, it influences you. We know that, right? Again, science proves, you could Google it. And we know that about, I think some websites say it. So when I signed up with Blueberry, who are amazing, by the way, and I think you've done a partnership with them, or ICM, or whoever they're, they talk about 90% of traders lose money, right? We know that. Fine. So my thing is, what do we need to do to not be like the herd, right? Yes, you want the right method. We want to be part of, Simply Forex, join the Discord, all that good stuff. But there's also something that everyone is doing, and we need to think about that. So I think, is everyone thinking about the psychology? And I really appreciate that you've taken time to do this video, because it's so important. And I don't think they are. I don't think a lot of people think about the frame of mind and setting the right tone and the standards to enter a trade. As you say, your strategy has probably taken years to develop, and it's profitable. We know that. You've done well. You live in Dubai and doing really well. But also, a big part of that is definitely your mental state. You've entered a trade, and if it hits your stop loss, it hits a stop loss, right? You're not panicking and stuff like that. And I think that's where the 75, 80, 90%, whatever it is, lose money. They might have a great system, but they pull the trigger too quickly. Or they close the trade too quickly when they're in profit, and they hold the losing trade, so
I couldn't agree more. That whatever figure they throw at you, 5%, 10%, 15% of people make it. I would say the majority of them can handle their emotions and handle the psychology of trading. We could give somebody a strategy tomorrow, that works, and they lose money, because they can't control themselves. Couldn't agree more, Kev. I've got a few other questions here, Kev. So people have sort of wrote in and give us some questions. So dealing with FOMO. So for some of you who don't know what FOMO is, the fear of missing out. This is not only a trading thing, this is a life thing, but relating it to trading, what's your thoughts on that, Kev?
It's, when you hear FOMO, it's such a funny thing, right? But it's real. It's almost like, your friends, they've gone to a party and, you slept in or something, and you're like, oh my God, I can't miss all the party. You turn up late to the party, everyone's already merry and it's probably time to go home, and you're
Merry's a
sober as
polite word.
hell. I know, I was gonna say, you're sober as hell, and the party's nearly done, right? And that's what FOMO is. The price action has gone up or down, and you've seen, you're like, okay, cool, let's go. And by the time you've entered that trade, it's too late. You know, your stop loss has to be where it shouldn't be, and the take profit, it's not very good. And then generally it reverses, right?
Yeah.
And you know you shouldn't, but you just can't help yourself.
Yeah.
And I think like having a proven system, right? So you've back tested it, you know it works, is key. And I think also the second part of that partners up well is discipline. You know, people talk about discipline like a way of life and things like that. And I don't think it's that. I think discipline is a tool, right, that we use in life. It's not a way of life. It's just a tool that we use, and we use that especially in trading. So you've got your system, charts, you've missed it, you might have come to the charts late, and it's your system alerted, it's gone off, but you've missed the entry. The tool that you now need to use, obviously, is the discipline to wait, and let price retrace, or you know, whatever it is. And it's just a tool that we use as traders to make sure that we stick to that, stick to the strategy, and not FOMO in.
Yeah.
Because look, you know, most people that FOMO in, more than likely, I would say high 80s, 90s, will lose money at some point.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Because FOMO, what you're going to do, you're going to jump into a trade. And if you jump into a trade, generally, you're not at a good price or a cheap price or a value price, if you think of it like that. Because the trade's shot off, you've got in up here, but then your stop then becomes huge. You know, you know, and the market 9 times out of 10 is going to give you a retracement. It's going to give you an area of value. It's shot up. It's going to retrace. It's going to give you an area of value where you can get back in. And if you think of it in terms of psychology, you just need to know that, you know, the odds are in your favor with terms of a retracement, you know? So
absolutely,
you know, just wait, let it retrace. Yeah. If it doesn't, then you have missed it. Yeah, no problem. There'll be another one in 5 minutes. You know, there's always an opportunity to trade. But you will get a retracement. So don't worry, you will get that retracement, then enter on a retracement. And retracements are beautiful because they give you can have tighter stops, and you just enter at value, really.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday, I think I shared it with you. I said, look, I'm in this trade. And I waited all day for that trade, right? I didn't know if it was going to present itself, but, you know, I was on the charts on 7 o'clock, whatever. And I shared that with you. And the reason I didn't want to share it with the group is because I wasn't sure, I wasn't 100% certain that, you know, it would match my criteria as a trade, right? As the process. When I look back at it this morning, because I've added it to my, you know, my presentation that I can watch every morning, it absolutely matched it. But the psychology of, you know, being in a group and having to share ideas and so on started to mess with me a little bit, right?
Yes, yeah, likewise.
And it kind of felt like, was that a FOMO trade? And I looked back on it and it wasn't, right? It was a great trade in the end. Not that it matters, like we said, we've got to be an algorithm. But I did get some FOMO vibes as I'd entered it. And I was looking back at it this morning, I was thinking, there's nothing about that was FOMO. It was really, really mechanical. My indicator went off, my price action met criteria, and off we go. But there's been times when I have FOMO'd in the past, and I find myself, I grab my phone and price is going up, and I jump up and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And I talk to myself like, stop, put the phone down, relax. Wait.
I find that if you haven't looked at the charts for a while, because I tend to set my alarms up and sort of, you know, get on with my day. I don't want to be looking at screens all day, but I set up what I'm looking for. But when I come back to the screen from a bit of a break, you know, there's something that clicks. And sometimes I think, right, I'm here, I've got a trade, but you haven't. You know, you've still got to. When you come, not only in the morning, but when you come back to the screen, you've got to be in that right mindset again. you know, because I could have been off having coffee with a friend, or, you know, done something, you know, with family, or, you know, and then I've got to get back into that mindset once I get back to my screens, you know, I've made some bad decisions when I've come back from such a thing, you know, and it, you know, it's all part of psychology.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with that.
And then also, Kev, you mentioned that you said I waited all day for this trade. Yeah. So obviously with trading, one of the things I cannot stress enough is you need to be patient as a something. I was about to swear, but you need to be patient. Yeah. So is patience something you can teach, Kev, or is it, you know, in us already, or it isn't?
Yeah, so I think it's something that you can practice. So when I think about the personal standards, so all personal standards I used to call them personal statements, and I feel like personal standards has a stronger attachment to it, right? So these are my personal standards, right? Whether it's life or trading. So one of the statements on my personal standards is I am patient, right? Full stop. So it's like an affirmation, you know, I am.
Yeah.
And then what's the action? How am I being patient? Well, I take a minute before responding. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Can you hear that?
No.
All right, I could hear it. My alarm's going off. Something's happening on EU.
No, no,
I'm really sorry. I could hear.
Yeah, but that's real life. That's real life.
Yeah, the alarm's gone off, and I really want to look, but obviously I'm not going to. But you know, so personal standards are an affirmation with an action. So for patience, I say, I am patient, full stop. And what's the action? What makes me be patient? I take a minute before responding, whether that's responding to the charts, whether that's responding to the kids.
Right.
And those make up part of the M3 method, right? Which I spoke about earlier on. So when you talk about patience, look, we are really sort of conditioned to avoid pain, right? And whether that's pain of losing money or whatever it's, so I don't know, when you're early on in trading, you know, you're in a winning trade. Let's just say we're not going to talk in pips or percentages, but let's just use pips. Your target's 12 pips and the price moves 5 pips in your favor. The amount of times I and traders I know would close that trade really quickly because we're in profit.
Yeah.
And your win rate is 80%, but the losses, so you've made 4 grand in the month, but you've lost 8 because, your win rate's higher, but your losses are bigger compared. So we're kind of, conditioned to take profit. We don't want to lose. And the opposite happens, I think, when you're in a losing trade. Oh, it's going to come back to break even. I'll just move my stop loss. And, that's where, like you said, the discipline is really important. And I think that the reaffirming what would make you disciplined, what things that would make you disciplined, and to practice that. So for me, something visual, like a statement, and I say this every morning, it's one of my 5 personal standards, right? I'm patient. I take a minute before responding, and I say that every morning within the first 20 minutes. So when it comes to discipline, yes, it can be taught, but it's something that needs to be, I would say, visual. So you have it somewhere, and you make sure that you catch yourself. Like that the other day, I was about to jump into that. So I talk out loud to myself. Kev, what are you doing? Stop.
People might think you're crazy, Kev, and they hear you talking to
yourself. Luckily I'm upstairs in this room by myself sometimes. So. But no, definitely can be taught. It's something that needs to be practiced, of course. So
all right, cool. Because patience is a big thing for me in becoming profitable. I wasn't patient. I was jumping into too many trades. It's such a, I now, like you say, take a minute. I reassess the situation rather than pulling, the trigger and entering that trade. I take a minute to myself. I look at the different time frames. You know how I trade. I look at the H4, H1, M15. I'm like, right, is it still making sense to myself? And ask myself a few more questions and just take that minute, as you said, before I enter the trade. And it's a little thing, but it helps you massively.
No, I definitely say to myself, is this my process? Right? My process is pretty straightforward. I look for a raid, as they call it, or price going into a point of interest on the higher time frames, and I look for a reversal.
Yeah.
And my reversal is an M5 divergence, look for some failure, and then I enter the trade. That's simple. That works for me. And I'm looking for, risk it a 1 to 2 or whatever it is. But yeah, I say that to myself, is this your process? This morning I looked at the chart. It didn't quite form what I wanted it to form. And I was like, I could take this, could share this up. Like, no, it's not your process. This is not your method. Leave it alone, move on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And price went up in the end where I still thought it was going to go, but it wasn't what I know I've back tested and works.
Yeah.
So
no, couldn't agree more. Yeah. And also, Kev, you made a point about you will, let winners, you'll nip winners in the bud early and let losers run.
Times,
this is one of the biggest problems of traders. Yeah. Because it's so difficult to admit that you are wrong. You've done all your analysis, and for whatever reason, the market hasn't respected your analysis. You're like, why hasn't it? My analysis was perfect. I've followed my setup to the letter, and and it's still gone against me. That was a problem and something I really struggle with as well. And there's a technique I use now called hedging. So that helps me just. I hedge the trade if things are going against me, and then I come back and reassess it. So, but yeah, that was a massive thing. But yeah, hedging is one thing. I must say this. Hedging is something. We talk about this as part of the Discord, guys. So check it out.
Yeah,
and
it's
also
a good skill. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah, it gives you time to. Reset yourself almost, and is the trade going against you? There's certain points in the market where you're going to be wrong if it breaks that level.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
That's where I hedge. And also, I know I talk about it a lot on the channel, this 80-20 rule. So I was terrible at letting winners run. Yeah, I was terrible. Honestly, I was like, every day I was like, you idiot. Why did you've taken
Look, it's gone. Yeah.
It's gone. It's sky, I'm trying to buy a pair and it's skyrocketed. I'm like, and I took about 10 pips out of it or something. You're like,
same. Oh mate, yeah.
You idiot. But again, you not only psychology, but you can, this 80-20 rule that I use. So once I get 1:1, I close 80%. And then my psychology is changed. Yeah, I can let the 20% run for 8 years.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I mean, because I'm not just saying it because I'm on your channel now, but before I did the same thing, I was like, you're a genius. You've scalped 12 pips, fantastic. That's me done for the day. Which is normally what I do. And then when I found your channel and you were talking about 80-20, I'm sure other people talk about this, but I never heard it before. I was like, this is fantastic. 80-20. Move to break even and just let it do what it needs to do. So all I did was readjust my risk and the potential profit I was looking for to incorporate, the extra 20% if it happens. It's fun. I think it's a great strategy, that 80-20 rule. Yeah, really good.
Cool. And guys, it's all on my channel. So if you haven't joined the channel, subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash the like button and join the Discord, guys. My editor will be happy with me. Okay, then, Kev. So another question that's come in is, managing a small account compared to a large account and trading small size compared with large size. So I know with me, this was something you slowly, incrementally have to introduce. It's one thing being, $20 offside. It's another thing being, $2,000 offside, and dealing with that, the difference in that, or should we even be thinking of it as money? Just trying to,
Yeah. So this is a really good one, right? Because I've got a personal account. It's decent size, not huge, but it's a decent size. And I recently did 3 prop firm challenges, right? The first one, blown, right? It completely messed with me.
Yeah.
Didn't trade a strategy, just messed with me. And I was speaking to, is it John? Yeah, it was John, Rider Wave. Some guys know him as Rider Wave. And we were talking about it, and I said, man, I just don't know what's wrong with me, right? But it really changed the way. So I was like, why am I doing this? Anyway, second one, blown as well, right? And the third one, blown, right? And then I evaluated what was wrong. And what I saw with it, right, was so two of them had a time frame.
Yeah, time limit. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, time limit. And which I felt like, so when I think of the emotions I was feeling, I felt like I was pressured to take the trade, coming to the end of the challenge. And at the start of the challenge, I was waiting for the perfect trade and not taking them. So my strategy would present itself, my method. I wouldn't take it. And then 10 days have passed, and I'm like, oh dear, I've only hit, whatever percentage, and I need to do so much more. So the last 10 days, I was just going for it.
Yeah.
I was taking trades I shouldn't. So I blew it, right? And the other problem is because it was so much money. When I looked at the account, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. Potentially, if I pass this, I can, I can make a lot of money from this.
Yeah.
And I think like this, whereas when I trade my account, it's a lot smaller than that. Still a good size, but very disciplined. My personal standards are met.
Yeah.
No problems at all. So it was like, I think what I've learned from that is it altered the way I prepared for my trading day, right? And what I've learned is stick to your process.
Yeah.
Don't listen to too much noise, because the third prop challenge, I was trying to do this whole smart money trading and all that kind of stuff, ICT, and which
introducing new stuff you've never
mate,
introduced before.
Yeah, and they're all good stuff, but so it's like now I've just signed up for a fourth one, and the idea is now is just stick to your plan, whether it's a big account, a small account. My process really works. And what I would say is this, right? It's like practice on a demo account if you don't have if you don't have a strategy yet. Yes, okay. What a demo account is going to help you with, I'm not sure if you agree with this, but what a demo account is going to help you with is going to help you with your strategy. Is my strategy good? Does it work? Do I make money? Great. If it does, that's part one. Part two is when you're trading in a demo account, you're not actually risking money. So when I was trading in my demo account, I didn't care if I lost or won.
No.
Right? And it has a demo account, trading demo, has no impact on your mindset and the ability to manage a trade, because when the real money is at risk, it's completely different. And that's where you've mastered your strategy in a demo account. You get onto a live trading account and start with what you can afford to lose. So it's 100 quid you can afford to lose, $100, $500, whatever it is. Start with that, but stick to your process. Get your, I'll just use the technique, the M3 method, or whatever your equivalent of that is. Your mindset is clear. You're in a good spot, and then just enter, exit as you see fit.
Yeah, a demo, they're a sort of double-edged sword, really. A demo can, obviously you need to know the functionality of the charts and entering and exiting trade. So you need a demo for that. And, to build a strategy, it helps you with that. But, when I was on a trading floor, and we used to trade these new recruits, if you like, and they were like, some of these guys are like, they're killing it on the demo. That we've got a real good trader on our hands here. He's really good. And I always used to think, heard it all before. Without being not being negative, but and then because as soon as they start trading real money, or they're put into a situation where they're trading big money, all of a sudden, the emotions, they are messing with you. They are messing with these new traders. What they once did, sort of carefree and they could almost trade less rigid and more fluid. There's something to be said for that. But when money's involved, everything becomes more rigid, less fluid, and harder.
No, I think you could have the best strategy in the world, right? In a sense, what works for you. Remember, there's all these different strategies work, right? You enter a trade using whatever strategy that works, and it's 50-50. Really, let's be honest, right? Whether it goes up or down. Some news can break out, something can happen. Your analysis was perfect, but something happens. It's 50-50. But the demo account is fantastic, and it definitely is where you want to start for trading your process, your strategy consistently.
Yeah.
But when you're ready and I've grown, I don't know, $1,000 demo account to whatever it is, great. Like you said, when I started, I was like, what is wrong with me? I can't seem to really get this right. And it would be so frustrating, and I'd be so frustrated and angry, and it messed with me emotionally. Like, I'll get hot and I'll go downstairs, and like the kids, I was like, I don't really want to talk to anyone right now.
No. Yes.
But you have to introduce little things, little techniques that help you. So you've done your demo account, you get into the live environment, your risk management. So I think we was talking about this. So I risk between, if it's a really aggressive trade, a 0.5%, which is a really tight stop, right? But I'm quite certain that it's going to go in my favor because my process is proven, back tested. But between 0.5% to 2%, I think you were saying you do, was it 1 to 3?
Yeah, 1% to 3%, because how I manage a trade, I'm not trading, here's my entry, here's my stop loss, here's my target.
I understand that.
I'm in and out of a trade, taking some money off at H1 highs, hedging if I have to, so, but by doing that, it can become up to 3%. Yeah, but no more than that.
Yeah. So I know I've strayed a bit with it, but I think when when you're trading a large account versus a small account, going back to that, I think it really just depends on your risk management and the practice of putting some sort of funds after you've got through your demo into a live account.
Yeah.
And see how that treats you mentally.
Yeah. I see it very similar to if you're on a demo account and then you trade, I don't know, you start trading $1,000 account, that's a big jump. Yeah. It's a big jump, and it's the same with, even if you are a live trader and you're trading real money, if you go from $1,000 account to a $50,000 account, you are not ready. Any of this, I would say, in my experience, you have to do it incrementally. So you can go from like $1,000 account to a 2,000 to a 5,000, and then spend some time at each equity level, because you need to get used to handling that money. Because like I say, if a trade goes off, you're offside $50, you're like, who cares? But if you're offside $1,000, you're like, focused, and it leads me to another point as well. So a lot of new traders don't put enough money on the trade for them to care. This is a big psychology thing, I must say, because, you're trading, it's real money, but you don't, maybe you have your 9-to-5 job, which is earning you a nice salary, and you just place a trade and you don't really care because you've got a salary. You've always got this safety net. And that was something that I had to get used to. You've got to trade enough money for it to make you money, but not enough money that it makes you uncomfortable. It's a real balancing act, that.
Yeah, no, there is a balance, because I think, when I initially started, I think it was like a demo account, $5,000 demo account or something like that. And I blew that. I didn't even do well. The second demo account, grew it, fantastic. And I remember transferring, this is just after COVID, transferring £5,000 into a trading account live. And that's when I realized it was completely different. I had, the strategy was fantastic, but the live aspect of this is my money I'm risking, it just completely crippled me before I can pull the trigger to take the trade. And then, like you said, at the end I started doing, again, for me, everyone has different sizes that they can trade, and I understand that, but I had a £5,000 account, £5,000 account, and then I would be doing a 0.05 or something like that, and it's like, and it's not worth it. So I hadn't worked out things properly, and
No.
But you're right. I think it's got to be enough to make you not necessarily feel uncomfortable, but make it worth it, as you say, as you try to grow your account. And I think if there is no right or wrong way of doing this, but I would assume the way I did it was demo strategy, blew it, grew it, personal account, blew that, then grew that because I started getting used to the uncomfortableness of trading.
Yeah.
And then now I'm trying to do the prop firm and trying to understand the mental side of trading a prop firm, because there's a time limit and all that kind of stuff and bigger funds.
And not your money as well. It's
not your money.
Yeah. There's a few things to trading them.
Yeah. So, but no, it's almost like a process, and I totally agree. When you're trading someone else's money, or you've got 9 to 5, which a lot of traders do, it's important for you to put enough on for it to be worthwhile.
Yeah.
I always say to people, just trade what you can afford to lose. So if you put 500 quid in a trading account, then and you lost it tomorrow, would that break the bank? Would you be in problems? And if the answer is no, then trade what you can afford to lose as a whole, and in a percentage of that, risk a percentage of that.
Yeah. There's a sweet spot where you're not uncomfortable, but there's enough on the trade for you to make money. There's no point like, woohoo, I had a $10 win. I get it if you're learning and you want to, you're trying to understand trading, but you're never going to do it full time if there's not enough money on the trade. But it takes time, and you have to work your way up to that point. And
absolutely,
there's that sweet point between uncomfortable and trading enough. You've got to find that balance for you.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Well, let me share just one thing. One trader is a very good trader on a trading floor, and he was like, they're peanuts. Yeah, you're either putting 3 peanuts on the trade or 4 peanuts or 6 peanuts. He was like, don't think of it as money, because that is going to cripple you. Yeah, because if you just got to trade the process. I've put 6 peanuts on this trade, and I could lose 6 peanuts, or I could make 12 peanuts. He was like, not trivialize it, because there's money involved, but you have to, the whole human psyche and this attachment to money, the whole world is a slave to money. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And from an early age, you are, it's ingrained in you to earn money. Don't waste money, earn money.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's separating yourself from that is quite freeing and liberating, not only in terms of trading, but in your life,
Yeah. And I think of it like that too. I think recently, 6 months ago, I was waking up like 2, 3 in the morning thinking of charts, and it's crazy, right? And these alarms going off and stuff like that. It's weird, because I just immerse myself in, I need to be better at trading. And it's only in the last, I would say, 6 months I've become really profitable. When I say really profitable, and I started in 2020, which is quite recent, but still quite a long time ago, right? But like I said earlier, we are just conditioned to avoid pain and uncomfortableness. Freya, my daughter, she's 2. I've got 3 kids, and she's like, if she climbs on a chair, I'm like, careful. Be careful, honey. I'm conditioning her to avoid pain, and to keep her safe. And I use that in trading, where if I sat, honestly, if I sat there, right, watching my 5-minute scalps, it is a roller coaster, and I can't help that. So what I generally tend to do, I enter the trade, and I just get up and walk. I've set my parameters. I'm an algorithm. An algorithm doesn't care whether it doesn't even know, right? I've set my target, and I walk away. And that's it. And I come back. The amount of times I come back and it's hit my stop loss, I'm like, okay, cool, we go again. And when it hits my take profit, earlier on in my trading career, when I would hit take profit, I used to be euphoric. All right, get downstairs, run downstairs, honey. I've just made
Take your
500.
top off, spinning it around
Yeah,
your head.
But what I noticed, there was a trend. Whenever I was euphoric, it's when I would lose the next trade. Honestly.
Yeah,
So
agree.
whenever there's a bit of euphoria in my trading, so I had a great trade and I would come and tell someone, or I feel good and I'm smiling a lot, I would generally lose the next trade. So now when I have a good feeling after, I just get up and I walk around, I don't say anything to anyone,
Yeah.
and off I go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Again, it's that homeostasis. If you have a winning trade, great. If you have a losing trade, it should be almost the same feeling.
Yeah,
it should just be, how you react is the same. And yeah, when some of my biggest losses have been, when I've, every day I'm just making money. I'm like, this trading's easy. I'm the best trader in the world. And then on Friday, because I'm X amount up, I'm a bit frivolous with that, and I become more carefree. Take trades that are sort of half part of my strategy, and then sure enough, give all the profits back that I made. It's just keeping that level of, doesn't matter if you win or lose, you are a robot, basically.
Yeah. And I also have a performance coach, right? So I think generally coaches have coaches. Otherwise, you can't be coaching someone and you've not had the continuous exercise of being coached yourself, right? So my coach, he's in New York, and I always say to him before I join a call, because you bring a subject to talk about, and I say to him, if you hear euphoria in my voice, please call it out, because that's where I'm most vulnerable to making mistakes, whether that's in trading or in life or whatever it is. If you hear that, please let me know, because the euphoria takes over, and you feel like you're top of the world and you can do anything.
Overly confident, maybe a bit too cocky.
Exactly. So I'll just say that to him. If you hear that, please, mate, just tell me.
Bring me down a few pegs.
Please,
immediately.
I kind of like being not hungry, but I like being, what's the word, like on the prowl, as I'm just sitting there waiting, or I've set my parameters and I get it triggers and you attack, and then I walk away. Right, recently I've started looking at them again, which is not good for me. I hate doing it. And then I walk away, but I make sure, like you said, if I've won or lost, I try to balance it to be the same. I really do try. It's difficult, but
again, super difficult. And guys, if you're enjoying this vid, then come join us, subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash the like button. Join the Discord channel. Kev's on there, and he will happily teach you about performance and improving your performance, guys. We got one more kind of question here. So just handling emotions in general, Kev. So, there's greed, there's fear, there can be anger, frustration, like you said, euphoria, just handling all of these things in the trading day, because, it can be a proper roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, so this is a good question, right? And so one of the techniques I use with clients who don't, so again, like you said, most of my clients are not traders, they business owners, execs, and some are artists like photographers and stuff like that. There's a couple of musicians, but I create a character, right? So the reason why, so if you come in a Discord and you're like, who the hell is Kusunoki, right? All that is, it's a Japanese warrior that my daughter, my second child, she loves the Japanese culture, right? I don't know why. I have no idea.
That's cool.
But she loves it.
Yeah.
She absolutely, it's really cool. And so I know one of the techniques that I've been taught, again, when I did years and years of training, not trading, is you create a character, a persona, right? And I think you hear singers do it, right? Lewis Hamilton, he's done it. Beyonce, Gal Gadot, I'm sure, has done it as well, where you create the character of the person that you want to be in a scenario. So, for example, when I have an exec that has a really important board meeting, and he has to present, or she has to present, we've created a character that is positive, very confident, the way they stand, the way they project their voice, those kind of things, right? And that's not them outside of that, right? But in that instant, they go into that, and we name the character.
Right.
So my trading character is called, and I hadn't shared this before, I wasn't even going to share it, but it's not a random name, Kusunoki, because of my.
No.
So I created this character called Kusunoki, and Kusunoki is, we spoke about this, it's almost like being an algorithm. Now, it's not quite there, but the idea is, what are some of the traits that Kusunoki has as a character? So this is not Kev, the coach, the performance coach, or the dad or husband. It's Kusunoki, the trader, who is patient, who has a proven strategy, who, doesn't watch his trades, right? Who doesn't listen to outside influences. And that's the character I've created. Now, if you said to me, yeah, but you blew through 3 prop firm accounts, because I was being Kevin, the dad, worrying about, other things outside of it, and I wasn't living or being Kusunoki. So I've just created this character. And you say, like, being emotionless, like you mentioned this before, and I think it's such a great thing. If you was to set an algorithm, we could code to trade exactly like Tom trades and take 100 trades. I promise you, we would be so profitable because it's a proven strategy, whatever your strategy is, right? But once we put the emotion into it and the doubt or whatever it is, recently we spoke about, sometimes we didn't take trades for whatever reason. But Kusunoki is that. It's meant to be, not meant to be, it is 3 or 4 things that I know, this is what I'm going to do. This is the character traits of this particular algorithm called Kusunoki, right? And I think that would help. If you create, what do you need to be like? I would ask myself this, or ask the trader this. What do you need to be like in order to be in the right frame of mind to trade? So, for example, we spoke about this. Starting your morning within the first 20 minutes, absorbing the best information and setting yourself up in the best way. Checking yourself internally, making sure you've eaten, you feel refreshed, you're not tired. All those, you're not hungover with vodka, right? And then, so that's the start. And then how do you execute? Well, I wait for my setup. As soon as it comes in, I set my parameters and off I go. And that is Kusunoki in a nutshell, right? I think that would help.
I love this idea, Kev. Honestly, that how you phrased that. Yeah, I love this idea of creating a trading persona. Take one. Take the family head off. Take the, I don't know, the gym, whatever you do in your free time, your gym head off, and putting on your trader head. And really symbolizing that with a character, or I'm trying to think what mine would be, some kind of robot, or I was thinking of Buddha. I don't know why. I was thinking of Buddha, who's very calm, takes it,
it's because because I had a picture of Kusunoki, which is an actual back in the day warrior, fearless, this, that, the other,
samurai.
Aggressive. And I thought, okay, I can't have that picture up anymore because I'm now community mod, helping your team out. So I think people need to see who you are, and that kind of thing. But look, it's, like I said, most of my clients, we have created something to help them, like you said, to be in that moment, right? So when we're talking about something particular, I'll say, right, are you going to be Kusunoki? Are you ready? Right? So get in the mirror and practice it. Well, you mentioned, like, your wife says to you after trading, like, come on, snap out of it now, show some emotion, kind of thing. And I think that's where you can literally jump into back to who you are, because we know Tom the trader is completely different to Tom the husband. I'm pretty sure it's a completely different character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. Yeah. No, definitely. I love this idea, Kev. Yeah, I think every trader should go out and think of their symbol or a person, a thing, an object that represents them as a trader, and all the traits that, the positive traits that will bring to trading. Yeah, I love that idea, Kev. And I think we are going to finish on that idea, Kev. We're going to finish on that wonderful idea. Yeah, so go and think of your symbol or something, guys, that will help you trade, and think of all the traits this person or this persona has, you know, and become that person when you trade. I love this idea, Kev. I think it's brilliant.
No, it's no problem at all. And just lastly, so this idea for the trading bit, like, so my dad, he's a crazy trader, right? He's so fearless, and I think, oh my God, how are you? And he's probably one of the best traders I know, right? And he doesn't, you're gonna laugh, he doesn't even look at the charts at all.
No,
he trades off the news and stuff like that, and he doesn't
he's a news
care
trader. Okay.
Yeah. And he's the most fearless trader I know, right? But like you said, I think create something, whether it's in trading or outside of that, and that's the character, and you step into that character.
Yeah. I love this idea.
No, all good.
Yeah,
mate.
love this idea, Kevin. I just want to thank you for your time, mate. You know, like,
no, it's all good.
You know, learning
Absolutely
from a fully qualified performance coach. So yeah, if you would like to be coached by Kevin, there's going to be an email in the links below the vid, guys. So go check his website out. It can really help you with your trading performance. And we've loved talking to you today, Kev, or Kusunoki, should I say.
No, listen, thanks so much. It's been great, you know, doing these videos, and it's just a lovely community. And like Tom said, you know, just join us. There's some really, really good guys in there. Adrian, Tom's the main guy. We've got John. It's a really growing community. Very helpful, different to any community I've been part of before. Where we're just sort of showing off, and it's really about helping each other. And so please join. It's in the description, I'm pretty sure. Simply Forex.
Yeah, brilliant, Kev. Yeah, come join the Discord, guys. Yeah, like Kev said, loads of traders sharing knowledge, ideas. It's really a learning community, guys. So check it out. If you've enjoyed the vid, come join us. Thanks to you, Kev, once again. And I'm sure we'll see you again soon, mate. And we'll see you in the Discord channel.
Absolutely. See you soon. Thanks again.
Cheers, Kev. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.